He is the man every woman says she wants. He's patient, thoughtful, available, emotionally present. He listens, he remembers, he shows up, and he keeps ending up alone. Not because women are shallow, not because the world punishes goodness, but because somewhere along the way he confused being nice with being desirable. And those two things have almost nothing to do with each other. And this is the conversation the internet has been having wrong for years. One side says nice guys finish last because women want jerks. That's wrong. The other side says nice guys just need to find the right person who appreciates them. And that's incomplete. The truth is more uncomfortable than either camp wants to admit. Nice men don't end up alone because niceness is bad. They end up alone because niceness itself doesn't create attraction. It creates comfort. And comfort without tension, without polarity, without the psychological friction that makes someone want you is just friendship with better intentions. He's not being rejected for who he is. He's being passed over for what he's missing. And what he's missing has nothing to do with being meaner, colder, or more distant. It has everything to do with something he was never taught, that being a good man and being a desirable man require completely different skill sets. And he has been investing everything on one thing while ignoring the other completely. So here's the pattern. The nice man leads with safety. He shows a woman immediately, transparently, that he is reliable, available, not threatening, and emotionally stable. He thinks he is demonstrating value. What he's actually doing is eliminating every variable that the female attraction system needs to activate. He's removing uncertainty, removing challenge, removing the gap between wanting and having. He is handing himself over completely before she has had to invest anything in it. And a reward that arrives before the pursuit has barely started doesn't feel valuable. It feels free, and the human brain, male or female, does not assign high value to things that are free. Not because it's cruel, because that's how the appraisal system works. The jerk doesn't win because he's a jerk. The jerk wins temporarily because he accidentally creates the variables the nice man eliminates. Unpredictability, challenge, emotional friction, and the sense that his attention must be earned. The nice man could create those same variables without being cruel, but nobody ever taught him how. So he defaults to the only strategy he knows. Be kind, be available, be safe, and wonders why it keeps not working. Now let me give you a case study. A man, 33, kind, like genuinely kind, the type who planned thoughtful dates, remembered small details, replied to every text within minutes. Women consistently told him that he was such a great guy and then chose someone else. He described a moment that crystallized the pattern. A woman he had been seeing for 2 months, someone he treated with complete care and attention, ended things with a sentence that broke him. She said, "You are the nicest guy I have ever dated, but I just don't feel it." And he asked me, what does feel it even means? I did everything right. I was respectful. I was present. I was consistent. What is there left to feel then? And that question, like what is there left to feel, revealed the entire problem. He had given her everything what makes a man safe and nothing that makes a man wanted. He was operating under the assumption that safety produces attraction. It doesn't. Safety produces appreciation, and appreciation without activation is the friend zone. Not as a place women put men, but as a neurological category the brain assigns to people who are valued but not desired. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was doing everything incomplete. So what's actually happening neurologically when a woman says that he's perfect, but I don't feel it? Attraction is not a rational evaluation, but please mind it. It's a limbic response. The limbic system, the brain's emotional processing center, doesn't evaluate kindness, reliability, and consistency when generating desire. It evaluates activation, novelty, tension, the sense that this person represents something not fully captured, not fully known, not fully predictable. Psychologist Daniel Nettle's research on personality and mate selection shows that traits associated with agreeableness, warmth, compliance, and accommodation are rated highest for long-term partnership but lowest for initial attraction. The traits that generate initial attraction are confidence, assertiveness, unpredictability, social dominance. These are associated with what psychologists call approach motivation. The brain's desire system is an approach system. It moves toward a stimuli that are uncertain, challenging, and not yet secured. The nice man's fundamental error isn't being nice. It's presenting himself as already secured, fully available, fully transparent, fully captured before the woman's approach system has engaged. He bypasses the mechanism entirely and goes straight to the destination, safety, without taking her through that journey, which is tension. And that makes the destination feel earned. There is a second mechanism operating here. Psychologist Robert Clover calls the nice guy syndrome. He wrote a book on it as well, No More Mr. Nice Guy. Clover argues that many chronically nice men aren't genuinely altruistic. They are performing niceness as a covert contract. That if I'm kind enough, available enough, accommodating enough, she will give me love and attraction in return. This contract is never stated, never negotiated, and never agreed to by the other person. But when the expected return doesn't arrive, when the niceness doesn't produce attraction, the nice man feels cheated, resentful, confused. I gave her everything. Why wasn't it enough? Because the contract was one-sided. She never signed it. She doesn't owe attraction in exchange for kindness. Nobody does. And the belief that she does, that goodness should be automatically rewarded with desire, that is the foundational delusion that keeps nice men trapped in the same cycle. So there are 5 signs that the nice man pattern is the reason you are alone. Sign number 1, you confuse agreeableness with attractiveness. You say yes when you mean no. You accommodate when you would rather not. You suppress your real opinion to avoid making her uncomfortable. You think this makes you appealing. It makes you invisible. A man with no friction is a man with no texture. And texture is what the brain's attraction system grabs onto. If she can predict every response you will give, if there is no moment where she wonders, what will he say? You have become emotionally frictionless. And frictionless surfaces, they don't create grip. Sign number 2, you over-invest before attraction is established. Grand gestures on the second date, long emotional texts before she reciprocated, full availability before she has earned access to your time. This isn't generosity, it's desperation wearing a tuxedo. And the female nervous system reads it with perfect accuracy. Premature overinvestment signals one or two things. Either he has no other options or he's performing a transaction he expects a return on. Neither generates attraction. Both generate discomfort. Side number 3, you have no identity beyond being kind. Ask yourself honestly. If you removed nice from your self-description, what's left? What are you passionate about? What do you stand for that might be controversial? What dimension of your personality would survive if you stopped trying to be liked? If the answer is thin, that's not a relationship problem, that's an identity problem. Women are not attracted to kindness as a personality. They are attracted to a fully formed human who is also kind. The kindness is a quality, it was never supposed to be the whole person. See, sign number 4, you avoid conflict like it's a relationship death sentence. She says something you disagree with, you nod. She makes a decision you don't like, you go along. She crosses a line, you absorb it. Because somewhere deep down you believe that any friction will push her away. The opposite is true. Friction is respectful, boundaried, authentic disagreement signals that you have a self, that you are not just mirroring her to keep the peace, that you are a separate person with edges, and edges are what attraction catches on. A man who never disagrees isn't safe, he's absent, and you can't desire someone who isn't fully there. Sign number 5, women consistently describe you with warmth but no heat. You are so sweet. Any woman would be lucky to have you. You deserve someone amazing. Listen to the language. It's warm, it's genuine, and it's completely devoid of desire. So these are the words women use for men they appreciate but don't want. If every woman in your life speaks about you like a character reference instead of a craving, the pattern is clear. You are generating respect without generating want. And want is not an upgrade of respect. It's a different system entirely, one you haven't learned to activate. So here's the truth nice men need to hear without softening. The world doesn't owe you attraction because you are kind. Kindness is the baseline. It's the minimum requirement for being a decent human, but it's not and was never meant to be a sexual or romantic strategy. The men who are both kind and desired didn't achieve that by being nicer. They achieved it by being complete, by having a life that's full before a woman enters it, by having boundaries that they don't apologize for, by having opinions they don't abandon at the first sign of disagreement, by being kind from the position of strength, not from a position of desperation. The nice man's strategy isn't that he's too good, it's that he is incomplete and has mistaken his incompleteness for virtue. He has turned the absence of edges into a moral identity, and that identity, I'm the nice one, has become the cage he lives inside. Not because the world put him there, because he built it himself, one accommodation at a time, one swallowed opinion at a time, one abandoned boundary at a time, until there was nothing left but agreeableness, and agreeableness alone has never made anyone's heart race. So if this is your pattern, the fix isn't to become a jerk. Please don't do that. That's the lazy interpretation. The fix is to become complete. Develop something you care about more than being liked. A passion, a pursuit, a mission that exists independent of any woman's approval. Hold a position the next time you disagree. Calmly, respectfully, but without folding. Let there be a version of you that isn't accessible to everyone. And not as manipulation, as a self-respect sign. Stop texting back in 12 seconds. Not as a game, because you are doing something that matters to you too. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Not to create tension, but because your honesty is more important than her comfort. The goal isn't to be less nice, please mind it. The goal is to be nice and whole. Kind and boundaried, warm and textured, available and autonomous. That combination, softness with structure, is the most attractive thing a man can be. Not because it's a strategy, because it's what a fully formed human looks like. Nice men don't end up alone because the word is unfair. They end up alone because they offered comfort to a system that runs on tension. And the moment a nice man stops apologizing for existing, stops performing kindness as a transaction, and starts being a full, boundaried, opinionated, complex human being who also happens to be kind, everything shifts. Not because he changed who he is, because he finally stopped hiding who he is behind niceness and let the real person show up. That person was never too nice, he was just never fully visible. I'll see you in the next video.